the interlinear mark. The last one is the Tanakh. Tanakh is simply the acronym for T, N, and K. The T as in Torah, N as in Nevi'im, or the writings, and then Ketuvim as in the prophets. Oh, sorry, Nevi'im as in the prophets, and Ketuvim as in the writings. Alright, so anyway, what we're going to do tonight, we'll wait for him. In the meanwhile, let's learn the vowels.
Let's sing the vowels.
No, this is different.
So I hope you guys continued writing the letters of the Hebrew, and that is the only way you will learn to read and understand. If you don't practice, these things are like bricks to you. So I really wish that you, when you get home, you practice the letters, and that is the only way you can read them. If you don't, you see the letters and it won't mean anything to you. And I'll show you a good example later on. This is the example of the Torah that you're looking for.
There's another good idea.
Oh, good.
Let's see. Do you still drop Joy off
Yes.
across from where we live in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, then why don't you go ahead and pick me up then, and then we can practice together as you take me to work.
Oh, sure.
Because I don't have any time at home.
Oh, that's right.
I never.
Well, one way
I just
also.
sleep.
One way also is, since you can already identify Hebrew letters, if you see them on boards or in some synagogues, try to read them. And then if there's a letter that you don't recognize, go back to your notes and you will see. Now, the book is very good by CO. Even though, if you'll notice, from the first chapter you learn the letters, in the second chapter you learn the grammar already. So I don't know if we can really learn it fast that way, so I would rather let us learn the letters first, and then how to do the sounds of the letters, and then read them. Okay, so for tonight...
Say that again.
Say that again.
I think I've got the progression backwards. You said...
We learn the letters first, and know the sounds, and then we learn to read them. Because if there's no way you can recognize a letter, there's no way you can read it. And if you can't read it, you cannot understand. Right? So let's proceed with the vowels. You have learned the consonants, the letters already. So let's proceed. I'm not going to complicate, I'm not going to give you all the different vowels, the combinations of all the vowels, but I'll just give you the basic. Oh, thank you. There it is. The basic of the letters, alright?
You said you weren't going to complicated. I mean, that's...
Right. Just like in English. Alright, but we're gonna pronounce all of this the way Hebrews or the Jews pronounce it. Okay, this is not A, but this is A. Say it with me, A.
Aha.
Okay. This is not E, but this is E. And say it with me, E. This is the E. This is the E. This is the O. And this is the U. The strong O. U. So you go like, you almost kiss your neighbor.
That's like Spanish.
Now, in order to recognize a vowel in a Hebrew word is, let's say you see a vowel, a consonant, right? Now the vowels are usually at the bottom. To make this an A, you see that symbol. Or this symbol. But I'm not going to complicate you for now. Let's consider that. Alright? Just in order for us to be able to read them.
Is it just a line or
Another T. A small letter T.
Okay.
Now for the E, it's another consonant and 3 small dots. I'm not even complicated by telling you what these symbols names are at. Because if I'm going to tell you this is patak, this is kamet, this is cherei, I'm not gonna let you do that. As long as you recognize the symbol and the sound it makes. Right? Now this E is the consonant and a dot. This is 3 dots and this is a dot.
Or the one that is E.
E. That's E. Okay? Now for the O, it's actually above the daggers on top. So it's above with the daggers. It's actually above. Just say it's above. Right? That is pronounced as O. Now, if the dot is in the middle, that is an U.
Oh.
Okay? Some would just write this like this, removing the vowel and just putting the dot on top there. But we're not going to go through all the derivations and the deviations of all these letters. Okay? So now, I want you guys to go to Genesis chapter 2.
Is this, I heard this, I'm not sure, but all the dots, that's mainly for
Vowels.
I mean the vowels.
We'll consider the dots, these little symbols here as for vowels. But there's something called daggers, but actually these are daggers, but we're not gonna go through that for now. What I want you to understand tonight is how to recognize the vowels. Okay, so let's say I say this. This is a B. This is a B or ba. With the letter E or E. Okay, so this is ba, E or be. With a tab, bet. So this is bet. Okay, so if I put a symbol there, this is a bet, tab. Because this is, sorry, this is an A. Because actually in Hebrew, this is also an A, but you can learn that later on when you study your books. Okay, so that's how you pronounce them.
How do you pronounce the 2 words?
This is be, syllable, be, because this is letter B. This is a be, right? But we're not confused with that. This is a be, because B and A, be. And then this is tab, so this is bet, and then with an A, beta.
Oh, beta.
Okay? So any question at this point?
How do you write that?
So,
How do you write bet?
If I take the A, it will be Bet.
As in Bethel?
As in Bethel or Bethlehem. Alright?
Okay.
so to write Bethel, you would put the
Alright.
T in the bottom and then a
Alright, this is how you do it. Then you put the A again. And what's the letter again?
Now,
The lamed. Bethel. Bethel. Now,
Bethel, yeah.
as a general rule, consonants must be followed by vowel, unless otherwise it is being represented by another, being preceded by another consonant. So right now, we read this as Bethel, not Bet-El. So it's Be, a consonant with a vowel, and another consonant. So Bethel.
The vowel is usually in between the consonants.
Vowels are usually after a consonant. Okay, so if there's another way to read this, if I say Bet-El, but it's not read that way. It's read as Bethel. Not Bet-El, but Bethel.
And when you read it on the other side, you read it the other way around.
Yeah, you were not here in the first place. Yeah. You read it this way. not like English, you go this way,
Yeah.
but in Hebrew, you go the other way.
Okay. Kind of like Chinese, right? Like the last name.
Yeah.
Is that last name, first name?
Right.
Okay.
So, now, let's go to Genesis chapter 2.
Sorry.
No. In fact, I really encourage you to ask questions now. Because during the exam, there's no more questions being asked.
How many letters are in the Hebrew language?
There are 22 consonants, basic
Genesis
consonants,
chapter
letters.
2. Right here. Basic
Yeah.
Why is there A-E-I-O-U's?
Because those are vowels. Those are the ones
No,
that
I
make
mean,
sounds.
is it just coincidental? Or, because,
God,
Oh, no. Oh, coincidentally in our English,
no?
in our English language, you mean?
Yeah, is that the root of our A-E-I-O-U? Is that a Hebrew?
No, it's not A-E-I-O-U, it's A-E-I-O-U.
Yeah.
It's in Spanish. I-E-O-U.
Exactly. So A-E-I-O-U.
French.
Now, this is not coincidental to be only 5, because there are, like I said, there are derivations to this. Right? There can be a sound like A, or A, E, and a Y. And we're not going to go through that for now. I just want you to understand the basic vowels. Alright? There's a combination of patak, kamex, and so on and so forth. Right? But we're not going to go through that. Okay, Genesis chapter 2. And in the meanwhile, get a piece of paper because I'm going to ask you guys. So on a piece of paper, write your name on top. Write introduction to Hebrew, the date today. One whole sheet of paper, please.
Oh. No, one whole.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Okay, if you're gonna read that, it should say, and the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him and help me for him. So the focus is on the word help me. Now,
Did you say help me or help me?
help, same thing. Help me. Now, if you guys wanna define what help me on that verse mean, what do you think it means? Write it on your paper.
Sorry, what's the
What
Genesis?
does the word help me mean? Help me means.
Pastor, what is it? Genesis 2,
Genesis 2:18.
18.
Yeah.
You're saying meat. Flesh?
M-E-E-T.
Go read it in the Bible. You can probably see it.
Yeah.
What's the translation in there? What's your
18.
version?
Helper comparable is mine.
Yeah, helper suitable for him.
Helper suitable. Okay. So, let's say help suitable
Helper.
or helper.
What is your question?
So, in your understanding, what does the help meet or help suitable mean? Yeah, in your understanding. So try not to read on the commentaries. Try not to look on the commentaries for now, because what I want you to learn tonight is how does the Hebrew help us understand what we're reading.
Yeah.
Right?
You just want us to write like one sentence or
Whatever, you can do 1, 2 sentences. Yeah. And then maybe I can start you guys to see. You can go to Genesis.
What do you mean?
Genesis 2:18 in there. You guys are done.
So it goes on the other side.
Yeah, it goes from Genesis
chapter 2 or?
So try to decipher it, okay?
Yeah.
What verse?
2, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Okay? So after that, you start writing the Hebrew letters from Aleph to Tav. Without looking at your nose. You're alright, you're okay. I understand you. So it's after your explanation of Genesis 2:18, write the Hebrew letters Aleph to Tav. Of course, from right to left. I won't let you guys get out of this class without understanding anything. I really am gonna force this into your heads until they start cracking. Because I'm not gonna give you passing grades if I know for a fact that you don't understand anything. Okay? You will be, some of you will be pastors someday, some of you will be asked what these verses mean, and I want you to tell them what it really means, but not what you think it means, but what it really means.
Yeah. First we have to answer this question,
Yeah.
right? And then you want us to
write the Hebrew letters, yeah. Now, it's alright if I can see Chinese characters in there, it's fine with me, as long as you try your best for now. This is my only way of gauging if you guys understand anything, or if you guys are learning something, or if you guys are not studying at all.
Pastor, I just want to make sure that this is the right thing that I did. Your question is, what do we mean by I will mean a helper suitable for him?
Just the helpmeet. That's the word helpmeet. What does the word helpmeet mean?
Help me.
Or help suitable, whatever your translation is.
Suitable. Helper suitable.
Helper suitable. Okay, another thing. There are teachers who tell you that they're not going to give examinations if they're not being announced. I am the opposite. I'm the exact opposite. I will never announce my examinations or my tests, and this is the reason why. People come to you from nowhere asking you questions, and they're not going to tell you when and what question is going to be. You have to be prepared all the time. That's why we study. The study is here in this classroom. When you go out there, people ask you questions. Let me see my notes on in Hebrews, introduction to Hebrews, what does happen. I want you to learn them by heart.
No, it's like writing Chinese.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like writing Chinese. so like even the number, it goes from
Right.
10 to 1.
Right, it goes down.
Oh, now I get it. That sounds like. Okay.
So like I said, I want you guys to recognize, right, the letters when you see them. The word help me. You guys done? Are you guys done?
Yes.
It's alright if.
When you read it, so once you're done with this sentence, right, do you go this way or again?
It goes from the top.
Okay, so I'm reading 7, this is 18 now, right? And I'm going backwards. So do I go?
After this, you
Yeah.
go to the other page.
Okay.
So the page also turns the other way.
Ah. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright?
It's
So,
confusing is the numbers.
yes. But I want you guys to recognize the letters first.
Yeah.
When you're reading it, try to read just the words, and don't get disturbed with this other marks in there. Because there are some marks in there that you probably won't recognize yet. The only marks that I want you to understand are the consonants and the vowels. That is the only way you can read it. Okay, you guys done? Good. If you are done, let's continue. Who has an idea what helpmate means? Or help suitable means?
I put down one who helps, a partner, a supporter, encourager, motivator, same flesh, same mind.
Where did you get that idea from the word help and meet?
Meet, oh, helpmate.
I understand the word helper,
Yeah.
but meet, or M-E-E-T,
For me, meat is like the same part of my body. Some other person just like me. That would be.
if I understand correctly, meet is like, if I go to where the other person is, we meet.
Right.
Right? And help is usually understood as the one who is usually lower or or below in terms of standing, and not actually of equal or in terms of significance or value. You're not going to write this down, alright? You just, whatever you wrote in there in your definition is correct. It's fine with me. Now, if you remember, the Bible that we are reading right now is in English. And what's the original word that was used in there? The Hebrew.
Arabic.
Now, the original Hebrew for help is Ezel. Ayin, Zayin, and Resh. Ezel. Now, the translation for Ezel is not actually a help, but it denotes salvation or strength. In 1 Samuel, there's a word there that says Ebenezer. I don't know if you guys already encountered that. Ebenezer. Ebenezer is a Hebrew word that can be translated literally as Eben, meaning rock, and Ezer as salvation. That's why Ebenezer is rock of my salvation. Now, where does salvation or help from the woman come from? How is salvation related to the woman? Now again, the word English word meat comes from the Hebrew word kenegdo. Anyway, for those Filipinos, there's no Filipinos here. This is not asar. And this is eser. Alright? And kenegdo, this is not kenegative. Kenegative. It's kenegdo. Now, the word kenegdo literally means, who knows what it means? The same, but opposite. It's kind of like a paradox. It's the same, but it is the opposite. We'll get into that later on.
I think
Go ahead.
this is so cool,
Go ahead.
it's not funny. The question is, why was woman created opposite man? And then Rashi, who evidently is the man here that explains, if he is worthy, she will be a helpmate.
Or else,
If he is not worthy, she will be against him to fight him.
the exact opposite. But we're gonna go further into that. We're gonna learn that some more.
That's-
Being blinded by this light.
That's awesome.
That was the curse.
All right.
That's great.
Now, when you go to when you are in battle, and you have to go to a safe place, or a castle, that is your salvation. That's why it is safe. Safe, save, salvation. So the woman, in a sense, is somebody who saves. My wife, for example, had saved me into a lot of humiliation. Right? That's where the word eser comes from. So it is so far from the definition of being a helper. In fact, the woman plays a very significant role. In fact, it signifies strength to be a safe haven for the man. It doesn't connote a weaker sex, but in other words, it is a stronger representation of what a woman is supposed to be. So in other words, right now, our understanding that a woman is a weaker sex has to be set aside temporarily. Right? Now, kenegdo, like the literal translation of kenegdo is actually kenegdo only appeared 21 times in the Hebrew Bible, and it is only once that it appeared in the meaning in the word that means meat. Now, what does meat mean? In other translations, this is mirror. Now, what is mirror in relation to the man?
The same.
Same.
Kind of like a reflection.
Sameness.
Okay, correct. So the woman is the same, but opposite. Because when you go to a mirror, you try to look at the mirror. My right eye is this guy's left eye, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Have you realized that? Recognized that? Look at the mirror. Point at your right eye, and this guy is pointing to his left, isn't it?
Yeah.
So therefore, it is the same, but the exact opposite. Now since there's no children in here, a man comes to a mirror and looks at himself and his sexual organ. His sexual organ being external, and the woman being internal, and they meet as one. They complement each other as one. That's where the meaning of kenegdo means. So therefore, let me make this statement. I wrote it down so nobody can sue me. It is the Genesis 2:18 can be further interpreted as, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a companion of strength and power, who has a saving power and is equal with him." Equal and opposite. Remember what I told you about the Aleph? This is a yod, this is another yod, and this is the bab. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, that's why these are like. I'll tell you another paradox of the same and opposite. The bulb is simultaneously connecting the dots.
Thank you.
Let me read that. Let me say that again. The bulb, this line here, is simultaneously connecting the diodes and at the same time separating them. Right? That's the paradox. That's why the word kenegdo is like a mirror. The same, but opposite. You have never, I'm pretty sure you have never heard those words yet before. They're the same, but they're exact opposite. Therefore, they complement each other. Whatever the weakness of one is the strength of another. Whatever is the strength of the other is the weakness of the other. That's why they complement each other. That's why they become one. They have to become one.
Wow.
In other words, the bed, yeah, you have to become one. The bed, remember? The letter ba is number 2 in our numerical values. And bed means a house. Remember? A house is designed to have a man and a woman in it, not just one of them. That's why numerical value 2.
So the word El, like El Shaddai, Elohim, is...
It starts with letter
Yeah.
Aleph with letter E.
That represents E right there, the 3 dots, kind of like the Levita logo.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why when I say the Aleph is a representation of a strong letter, it means head. That's why when he gave an example, Elohim, El Shaddai, this letter is the most letter used for the name of God, starting with El, or Elohim, or El Elyon. Right? So there's a lot of names of God that starts with letter Aleph. So now, anybody who doesn't understand what the word help me means, I hope you have a picture of what the verse means.
Wow.
It is not good for a man to be alone, therefore God created for him a helpmate, or a
So he was incomplete.
suitable.
He was designing to pretty much.
Well, the main idea of what I'm telling you now is, if you would forget these 2 words, these Hebrew words, you will never, never, ever come back to the real definition of the word helpmate. Okay? Another example. 1 Corinthians. Let me just read it to you, because I know you guys are familiar with this. When Paul wrote a letter to the Corinthians, he said that you guys are so indulged into sexuality, and there is adultery and fornication among you. Now his statement is this: to whoever is attached to all of this, I would rather surrender, give him to Satan for the destruction of his flesh, in order that his soul may be saved. Now, anybody who has that idea mean? Give him to Satan.
Maybe, to go through that judgment so he can be purified and so he can gain wisdom.
Where's the word Satan?
This one.
Yeah. So,
It's,
going to the Hebrew, if you know the meaning of the word Satan, you would probably get an idea of what the verse means. But for now, most people misrepresent that. They say that they want the person to be delivered to Satan is a phrase that means they want the person to die. But if the person dies, being saved, being a Christian, then it results to the salvation of his soul. But that is not what Satan means. Whoever knows what the word Satan means?
I forgot. Here's Sarah.
Sin or?
Satan means
Saber or enemy.
adversary or opposition. That is what adversary means. Opposition.
Structure.
Huh?
You just got through saying that your wife is supposed to be your opposition.
That's Satan. That's why husbands who call their wives Satan,
I wouldn't say
it
that.
means opposition.
See, they almost
Now.
missed it.
Now, and they almost miss it. Usually they always miss it. Now, what does it mean? What is the word opposition or Satan, to be delivered to Satan for the destruction of the flesh? Now take note. In Hebrew, the word for flesh is different from the word for body. Therefore, the one that we want to destroy is the flesh, not the body. If we say that to deliver to Satan for the destruction of the flesh means to die, it means for the destruction of the body. But it says flesh. Flesh is the fleshly or worldly desires. For the person to be subject to opposition for the destruction of his fleshly desires, now this is where it makes sense. For the salvation of his soul in the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. I want you guys to realize how important it is to recognize the roots of the words of the verses that we are trying to interpret. Or else we are telling people what it doesn't mean. What it would probably mean, but doesn't actually mean. Hence, we study Hebrew language. Hence, we study Hebrew.
And that is how it usually is, especially with, I guess, the Filipino culture, because of the Catholicism from the fact that you will hear parents say, I'd rather have my son die than for him to, you know, like be in drugs or be in
That's why it is easier for us. In fact, we are more vulnerable to give them the wrong interpretation or definition of all the verses, because our own cultures set in, not considering the historical value or historical culture on how these verses were being written. Right?
Isn't kind of like, for example, like you know, the term for hell. I think I don't know if it's Greek or Hebrew, like Gehenna.
Gehenna.
And Gehenna is like nothing. There's no life.
Yeah, Gehenna is a place. In fact, there's a place in Israel, outside of Israel, where they dump bodies in order to be burned. Of course, they have to put sulfur in them. That's why they call it. Then they call it Gehenna, because there's nothing, there's no life in it. But if you will see, if you will try to relate our imagination of what hell is, it is burning with fire, sulfur. There's no life in it. But we're not gonna go through that. But we're gonna keep ourselves into the study of Hebrew letters and Hebrew language here. Okay? Can I take this out?
Yeah.
So now.
No, what's right there? No, what's the Hebrew letters? The left to your right?
This one?
Yeah, all those right there. That's what? What does that say right there?
This is the vowels that we just learned. This is ka, remember? This is not a vowel. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
So this is not being pronounced. Ka, what letter is this? Nun or ne, right? Because it has a vowel E on it. Ne. And what is this? Gimel. Neg. This doesn't have a sound. So neg, dalet, and kolembab. O.
Okay.
And neg, do. I will just erase it.
Yeah, that's how it's trying to.
And neg, do. Alright, any questions so far? It's either you understand everything or you don't understand anything.
I don't understand either, but I don't understand the application of Hebrew into the 1 Corinthians, which
Okay, alright.
would have been in Greek. I'm sorry.
They're Jews.
Yeah, we're talking about Paul, so yeah,
They're Jews.
absolutely. His original language would have been Jewish.
They speak
Hebrew.
Jewish. In other words, Hebrew. They speak Hebrew, they write Hebrew, they communicate Hebrew. However, while they were talking, what we call as textus receptus, this is the received text. This is the Bible that we received. And they were written in Greek.
There was a common language.
Or koino, koino Greek.
Yeah.
Or Koinaic Greek. Or the common Greek. Or in other words, when they are in supermarkets, that's what they speak. Right? For Filipinos, it is easy to understand the language that was being used in supermarkets or in marketplaces. That's why they call it palengkera. That's why they call it, these are the language of those people who are in the supermarket. Usually, these are the people who are not going to colleges or schools.
They're not educated.
They're not educated. Now tell me, how come Paul being a Jew, and then later on, read his words in common Greek? How did that happen?
He was a master of all of that.
It's a matter of all grades.
I think the roots of the letters themselves.
Receptus. Before the Textus Receptus, these are the books that we receive. That's why it's called Textus Receptus. Before the Textus Receptus are from the original Hebrew to whatever it is, and then being translated to Koinaic Greek. In other words, even though what we receive is Greek, what they actually were talking about, what they were communicating about, the message they're communicating it to is in Hebrew. That's why it is important for us. In other words, whatever kind of Hebrew terminology that you find in the New Testament is probably a Hebrew language that they cannot translate to Greek. That's why they kept it. Or it's probably a proper name. How come they did not translate Bethlehem as the house of bread in the New Testament? Bethlehem is a Hebrew word. It's not Greek.
No, it's not.
Bet means house, lechem means bread.
So whatever we find that is not translatable,
Yeah.
or need not be translated, such as a proper name of
Proper
a,
name.
of a town that's been there since, I don't know.
Yeah. Or Hasatan is not a Greek word. It's a Hebrew word. That's why we should translate Hasatan from the real definition of it on the Hebrew, not from the Greek. Because if you go farther than this, if you go farther down here, you will have a picture of a red guy with a pitchfork and with a tail and an arrow on it. Right? What I'm trying to do now is to take you up from there and bring you to the real definition of it. That's why we study Hebrew.
How you say demons in Hebrew?
Demonion, that's in Greek.
No, in Greek.
Demonion is not a Hebrew word. Demonion is a Greek word.
Oh, that's
They put the name demonion because they want to relate the fallen angels to opposition because Lucifer himself had opposed God and in fact took a third of all his people and brought with him. They called them demonion.
principality or power or belonging to the Hassan.
Yeah. And the power and the principality, the power that these guys derive is not the true power, because the true power is from God. These are derived powers. But if we call them principalities and powers, it kind of, in fact, we have this notion when we were kids that there is a holy angel on one side and a demon on another side, as if they have equal powers. Right? But in fact, what is Satan compared to God? Honestly, we all believe from the past that they have of equal power, but they don't. So right now, I hope that we do understand the significance of knowing the Hebrew root of the words that we learn before we interpret.
So demon is a Greek word?
Demon, yeah.
Yeah, it's originated in their language.
Therefore, we cannot derive our interpretations and definitions from down here. It has to be up here. If I'm a Filipino, like my example before, you're Filipino? You understand Filipino still? Like my example before, kain tayo. To Filipinos, it's a natural language. It means, let's eat. I'm inviting you to eat.
Yeah.
But if you, being an American or being some other language-speaking people, would translate that, it could be, eat us, or we are eaten. So it actually changed the definition of it. Now, in other words, if you want to know what kain tayo means, you have to go to a Filipino and ask him. And of course, a Filipino will tell you it's an invitation for us to eat together. Not for you to be eaten, not for us to be eaten, but for us to eat together. A slight deviation from all of this will lead us to misrepresentation of the interpretation of the Bible. Hence, once again, go back to the Hebrew root. Now tell me, the Bible is being written by Jews out there in the Middle East. In other words, Middle Eastern culture. Now how do we understand it? Can we understand it with the mindset of being a Western culture? Of course not. The cultures are too different. When the Bible says the woman must be quiet, must be kept silent, and wait for his husband to go home, or else she is a dishonor to her husband. What does that mean? For Western culture, that is a disgrace, because for us, there's woman suffrage, there is equality between man and a woman. A woman can speak, a man can speak, but the Bible doesn't agree with that. Why? Because in their culture, going back to their culture, going back to the original culture, that is how we explain or interpret what the verse means. Questions?
Single most misinterpreted word into English, in your opinion, out of the Bible? What is one word, the biggest word that we use that's just flat wrong, that we miss bad?
Good. The word good. Okay. And God saw that the light was good. A man is good. To us, good is righteousness, being right, or being correct, or being lawful. How is the light lawful? What does the light obey in order for it to become good? Because the original is tov. Tov.
T-O-V.
created for the purpose. And the purpose, for a purpose. It is being served. Now, if you say that the light is good, it serves a purpose on which it is being created. It never obeyed the 10 Commandments. Did you see the light obeying 10 Commandments? In fact, when the light was created, there was no 10 Commandments yet. There was no law yet. Not even one. Now, as a homework, I want you guys to think about this. On the first few days of creation, God always says the light was good, and it was good. I don't know if you have noticed this already. On the second day, I don't know if you've noticed, on the second day, God did not say that it was good. And on the verse that we just learned tonight, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, it is not good for the man to be alone. Is it evil for man to be alone?
No.
So study that, and I want you guys to. Uncle Mark, do you have another index card, please, if you have some more?
Yes, absolutely. Working on it.
So now figure out why on the second day in the Bible it was not mentioned it was good. Could you give that gentleman? Just one for the gentleman.
One for everybody?
Just for the gentleman, for the new gentleman.
Oh.
Could you just write your name in there?
Yeah.
And
What's the question again? Why in the second day?
On the second day of creation, it was not mentioned that it was good. On the first day, God said that it was good. Third day, it was good. Fourth day, it was good. Fifth day, it was good. Sixth day, it was good.
Forever.
But on the second day, it was not mentioned there. Right? Pastor Bermudez is already looking at me like he's going to eat me, so I better finish this.
No, I think that I learned something.
So just put my name and email or?
Your name, telephone number, if you could.
Alright.
Your bank account.
Your bank account, social security number, and the name of the banks.
Always.
Oh man.
God is good, so we're good.
Right, next week.
Thank you.
That's David. You good, David?
I am not good. Not yet.
Which verse is the second?
Can somebody help me bring this over, please? Oh, anybody who has not seen a copy of the Torah?
Wait a minute.
Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
I will bring it.
What?
They want to see.
Brother, I recommend that you buy one of these.
Whatever got called.
Books.
Answer the phone.
No, this is actually the Torah.